Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Secondhand Styler, the series where I show you my top tips and tricks for shopping secondhand and how you can get more for your money. Now in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 of my top secondhand luxury finds. I'm also going to be sharing with you my top tips and tricks to making sure your secondhand luxury finds are authentic and where I like to shop for my secondhand designer and luxury pieces. As always, I'm going to leave as much information as I can down below in the description box. So let's get into the video. First up, and we're starting with a handbag. Now I would say over 50% of my luxury handbags have been bought on the secondhand market. And this one here is absolutely adorable. I love how different this is. This here is my little mini Jackie O bag. And I got this at over 50% of the RRP by shopping it secondhand. I love this combination of denim with leather. I think it's so different. And this bag retails for well over the £1,000 mark. I paid under 500 for this. So my first tip to finding items like this is follow as many secondhand reseller pages as you can. The minute I saw this, I knew it was a bargain, and I got it from an Instagram seller called Resole Resale. I'm going to link some of my favorite secondhand reseller pages for you down below. And my recommendation is just to follow them and just to keep tabs on them. You never know when a good bargain's going to crop up, and I just got extremely lucky with this one. At the time that I bought this, it wasn't a very popular style. I got it about 3 years ago. It's now a really popular style, and I would be able to resell this for almost the full price that it retails for. So always go with your own style. Don't go with what's trending at the time. If you see something that you like and it's a good price and you know you're going to wear it, you've thought about it, you're not just buying it because it's a good price, but you're buying it because you love it and because it's a good price, then go for it. Don't worry about what other people think of your personal style, because if you love it, you never know if it's going to come back into style in the future. It won't matter if it does or not, because you love it anyway. But this just goes to show that shopping with your gut and shopping with things you really like for your own style is the way to do it. Don't be misled by trends. Now on the topic of bags, I'm going to show you another little secondhand bag that I'm in love with. This here is my little Mulberry top handle Seaton bag. I first fell in love with this bag when I saw the Princess of Wales with this style of bag. It wasn't in the croc. I think she had the medium size in a plain leather, but when I saw this shape and style, I fell in love with it. Now this style was actually discontinued, so the only way I could get my hands on it was to shop on the secondhand market. And I actually got this on Depop, which is a secondhand marketplace app. I love shopping on there for secondhand pieces, but you do have to be really careful when buying secondhand luxury items from that site, which is going to take me on to my next point. Now, if you are ever unsure about something's authenticity, there are apps and third-party authentication sites that you can use. Now, the site that I use is called Legit Grails. They've got really good reviews. I've used them for a couple of items, and I'm actually going to show you an example of how easy it is to use on this bag right now. This here is what the website looks like. They've got 4.6 on Trustpilot from over 1,500 reviews, so I really do trust them. And what they do is they actually authenticate it twice. So they use an AI authentication system, and then it also gets authenticated by an actual human who really knows their stuff. So it's really nice to have that peace of mind. If you are ever buying an item, particularly when it's a luxury bag or something that you've spent a lot of money on, you want that guarantee and you want that peace of mind that it's definitely authentic and legit. So all you need to do when you go onto the app is type in the brand. So I'm going to type in Mulberry, and you can see here they've got the Mulberry little logo. So I'm going to click on Mulberry, and then I'm going to click Authenticate now. And you can get your authentication done either in 30 minutes, 2 hours, 12 hours, or 24. So you pay a little bit more to have it done quicker. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to do it in 30 minutes just to show you how easy it is. And the prices are really good. So for 24 hours, you pay $15. For 12 hours, $20. And then for 30 minutes, $35. So I'm going to click upload photos. And then for step 2, it's got all of the different angles that you need to upload. So I'm going to click bag, and then I'm going to start doing the photos. I'm just doing inside the bag now. So I've just finished filling in the details of the bag with all the pictures that I've got. And now I just need to wait 30 minutes and I'll report back to you when we get the verdict. I know many of you watching love your secondhand luxury as much as I do. So Legit Grails have actually offered any of my subscribers or any of you watching a 15% off code. I will leave the code down below for you. And you can use Legit Grails for more than just bags. You can use it on your jewelry, your clothing, whatever it is that you want to have authenticated. It's a brilliant, brilliant service and fantastic if you are just needing that little bit of extra security, just to know it's had a third-party second pair of eyes on the item. So these here are the first two items that I had to include. This one because of just how good the bargain was. This one because I was just so delighted to find this discontinued style of bag that I couldn't not include it in this video. Item number 2. Now you'll know by now, I'm an earring lover. I just have a soft spot for earrings. They're my favorite type of jewelry. And these here, I adore. These are a very, very classic pair of Chanel earrings. I would say they're up there with the most iconic style of Chanel earrings you can get. And of course, they are the little drop CC earrings. Now again, with this style of earring, this is a very, very popular style, and therefore there are loads of fakes of this style out there. So particularly if you're buying a very coveted or popular designer item secondhand, my recommendation is to buy from a reputable seller or a reputable site. In addition to having it authenticated, these sites are less likely to sell fakes than the likes of an independent seller on somewhere like Vinted or Depop. So I actually got these on a website called Addicted to Handbags, which is a website I've used quite a lot. I trust her website, she knows what she's doing, and I got these for £250. They came in their original box, something that's quite important to me. You can tell a lot by the packaging of an item. My advice, if you are buying anything that is quite trendy or quite current or new, if the price seems too good to be true, it probably is, and if it is an item that's particularly popular, just bear in mind it's more likely to be duplicated and faked. So really be careful and choose sellers that have really good reviews and that have been in business for a while. Don't be swayed by low prices on places like eBay, Vinted, Etsy, Depop, because the chances are they're probably not going to be legit. If, however, you're like me and you love a vintage looking piece of jewelry, that is a brilliant way to not only get a beautiful piece of designer or luxury jewelry, but also to get a brilliant price. I'm going to show you an example. These here are a gorgeous pair of Givenchy mini door knocker earrings. And you'll know by now I'm a huge lover of vintage jewelry for a couple of reasons. The first reason, I think the quality is far superior to the majority of the luxury costume jewelry that we see these days. The second reason I love vintage jewelry is the price point. You're not paying for the in-demand, really trendy styles. Therefore, you can get amazing price points of anywhere from about £20 to £100 for a really beautiful high-end pair of luxury vintage earrings. And the third reason, talking about the authenticity side of things, they are far less likely to be duplicated, to be faked. It's usually those really trendy, in-demand, current styles that get faked and that you find dupes of, whereas the more vintage styles, they're just not as popular, and therefore you're more likely to get an authentic piece of jewelry. So I do have a couple of the more current styles of luxury jewelry, but on the whole, when it comes to my luxury branded jewelry, I go vintage all the way home. And I'm going to share some of my favorites down below, some of my favorite Etsy links. I love to get it from Etsy. There are a couple of sellers that I've bought from before that I really trust. And if you are in the market for your secondhand luxury jewelry, go and follow me over on my Instagram, because I do regular little sales on my stories where I share some of my best finds that you can shop there and then. And you really can find incredible pieces, gold plated for under £100. It just makes sense, particularly when you think about some of the high street brands where they're made from stainless steel, selling pieces of jewelry for about £50, when you can actually get Givenchy, vintage Dior, vintage Nina Ricci at similar price points. Item number 3. Now, if there is one accessory that I think is very, very often a little bit overpriced. It's a pair of sunnies. I don't like spending well into the hundreds on sunglasses if I can avoid it. I understand it for things like bags because of the leather and the craftsmanship. I also understand it for clothing. But when it comes to sunglasses, because they're often made of like acetate and plastic, I try to buy the majority of my sunglasses secondhand, and I've found some incredible bargains over the years. So don't forget to look on the secondhand market for sunglasses. I'm going to show you a pair here that I bought on Etsy 2 years ago, and I love these. These are another vintage item because, again, I think you can get amazing designs and quality if you go vintage. And they're this incredible pair of oval Valentino tortoise shell sunglasses. And the reason that I got these was because I'd seen a picture, I'm going to put it in somewhere here, of Pamela Anderson wearing a very, very similar style, and I immediately fell in love with the whole idea of that look, and I went on the hunt for a pair of these. So my little tip for sunglasses, again, there are certain brands out there that are far more faked than others, and I find the vintage styles don't tend to be as duplicated as some of, let's say, the current Ray-Ban styles, things like that. There are way more counterfeit versions of those than there are of vintage styles. I'm going to quickly pop them on for you. I absolutely love these. And when it comes to sunglasses, I like to go for the very classic styles and shapes. I love an oval shape in black or tortoise shell, and I also love a really good cat eye in a black or tortoise shell as well. Another great style is an aviator style. When it comes to buying sunglasses, go into a shop, try on the different shapes, take some pictures, and then go back and really look at the pictures and look at your face. See what you find suits your face shape, your hair, your colouring. There are guides out there to the best styles and shapes of sunglasses for your shape of face. But if you ask me, I actually think it's just best to take a little selfie and then to go home and kind of evaluate it and look at that picture and think, oh, do you know what? I actually really like that shape on me. I feel great in that shape. And I find the best shapes for me are cat eyes and the little oval shapes and rounder shapes. Once you've got the shape that you think suits you, you can then go and start typing things in like vintage cat eye and then a designer that you particularly like. I love Ferragamo, I love Valentino, I love a vintage Dior. There are lots of vintage Dior glasses out there. And again, if you're ever unsure, pay that extra $15, $20 to have them authenticated and you've got that peace of mind. Think about how much a current day pair of Valentino sunglasses is going for. We're talking over £150, £200. Paying £45, you really can't go wrong. And I absolutely love these. They may not be the most expensive pair of sunglasses, but I just think they're so chic and elegant and they go with everything. That's what I love about tortoise shell. It feels like a bit of a neutral. Okay, I've covered a lot of accessories now. So for items 4 and 5, I'm going to show you some clothing. Now this here is a really fun little piece and I absolutely love this. This here is a classic Burberry mini skirt. It's got the little leather detailing on it. It's in the classic pleated design and it's 100% wool. Now my next little hack here may not work for everybody, but if you are particularly short like I am, don't abandon looking in the kids wear section on the second-hand market. This skirt here is actually a children's skirt and it's aged 12 to 14. But what's great about a lot of kids wear clothing is they very, very often have elasticated waistbands. So what that meant was I was able to get a classic Burberry skirt but at a children's wear cost. This skirt in the adult version is pretty much identical, but it sells for around about, I think it's £600 or £700. I paid £70 for this and I just adore it. And as I say, it's got about an inch of leeway, so it does fit me, which is fantastic. And I got this on Vinted. It was a mum that was selling it. Her child had grown out of it. I asked for the waist measurements, realised it was actually my size waist. Although it was marketed as a children's skirt, the actual measurements were no different to an adult size in my size. And I managed to get an absolute bargain on this. Now, I appreciate that not everybody will be able to buy children's clothes if you're particularly tall or if the size measurements are not your size, but it doesn't mean you can't can't buy children's accessories as well. Things like scarves, hair accessories, even the 14 to 16 age range can sometimes be around about a UK size 8. So don't abandon the kids section. Kids clothing is significantly cheaper than adults. And as I say, if the children's clothing wouldn't fit you, you can also look at the accessories in that category. Hats, scarves, coats occasionally. I would say that is probably one of the upsides to being so short. I haven't always loved being as short as I am. In fact, when I was about 15 or 16, I used to cry that I was so short. But it does sometimes have its benefits, and on this occasion, it certainly did. Now, another way that I like to authenticate items is the fabric composition. It's an obvious one, but don't overlook it. Luxury brands are luxury for a reason, and it's because they offer a certain caliber and quality. So if you're ever a little bit suspicious about whether something is legit, particularly when it comes to your clothing, the first place I'm going to be looking is the fabric composition. I'm also going to be looking at things like the label. I'm going to be looking at the zip. I'm going to be looking at all of those little finer details that can be a telltale whether something is a forged or a fake versus the real deal. And this takes years to become good at spotting, but even on places like Google, you can type in how to spot a fake followed by the item that you've bought. There are endless articles out there on how to spot a fake. So don't be afraid just to do a little bit of research as well, because there's so much out there that can really help guide you. Also, when you're buying from a seller, ask for information. Don't just take their word for it. Ask for other photos, ask them where they bought it from, ask them why they're selling it. I also say when it comes to looking at a seller's profile, if they've got loads of fast fashion or cheap items and then just one random designer item, that for me is a red flag. And the final item I just had to include, because this is such a special piece for me. This here is my one and only and my first ever Balmain jacket. Now, I love this for a couple of reasons. The first reason is it's an iconic piece. It really is iconic. The shape and the silhouette this jacket gives you is unmatched. I also love the colour that I found this in. This is in their beautiful forest green, which I think goes so nicely with the gold buttons. I just think it's a really elegant but a little bit different. It adds a bit of colour, it stands out, and it works so well in the autumn winter time. And again, I bought this from a secondhand Instagram page, which just goes to show, follow them, follow as many as you can, because you just never know when something that you're going to fall in love with is going to crop up. And another thing that I like to do with these sellers is if I'm looking for something specific, I will send them a message and I'll say, do you have this item, or can you keep an eye out on this item for me? And you'd be amazed at what these sellers know, or who they know, or the items that they've already got that they haven't yet uploaded. So don't be afraid to communicate with online sellers. They want to make sales, you want to find something amazing. So I always say try to build a rapport with some of these online secondhand sellers, because you just never know what may come of it. This style of jacket here retails, I think, for around about the £800, £1,000 mark. Don't quote me on it. And it was sold at just under £400. There is an amazing, amazing selection of Balmain blazers, jackets on the secondhand market at around about £500 to £800. I actually managed to get this at a further discount because, I don't know if you've noticed, but it was actually missing one of the original buttons. You'll definitely notice it now. And I managed to find one of a similar style. It's not the same size, but when I wear it, I usually kind of wear it like that. But that's another little tip. If you are ever looking for a really good bargain and you're not too precious about it being pristine or perfect, sometimes you can find amazing pieces that have maybe a button missing or a scratch here and there. Be open-minded. There are definitely ways of going around it. You can have things mended, you can take things to a cobbler, to a tailor. This is the difference between getting something at a good price and getting something at a really good price. Absolutely love this piece. And again, a timeless design that I know I'll wear for the rest of my life. So in the time that I filmed this video, which has been about half an hour, I've had my confirmation from Legit Grails that my beautiful secondhand Mulberry bag is, of course, legitimate. And what's fantastic is they also provide you with a certificate of authenticity. So if I did ever want to sell it, I won't with this particular bag, but if you are looking to sell an item, it also gives your potential buyer that extra level of security, and it also will help you sell that item because you are offering it with a third-party authentication certificate. I hope this video has provided you with a little bit of inspiration and some tips and tricks to finding amazing secondhand pieces. I'm going to leave the information to the 15% off with Legit Grails. I'm also going to leave a list of my favorite secondhand sellers for you. If you do have any questions, or if there's anything I've not quite covered in today's video, leave them down below. I will do my best to respond to them there. As always, a huge thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And I will see you again in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.